Whether you're used to cruising cats or coming to them for the first time, the bottom line is that they're very different to monohulls. But how? Why does it matter? We've come to Tortola in the British Virgin Islands, one of the centres for catamaran cruising, where we've been lent a Moorings 4800, and we're joined by renowned multi-hull designer Nigel Irens. They're great on a reach, but upwind cruising cats are less well known for their good performance. So how do you get the best out of a cat upwind? So tell us about the basics of making a cruising cat go upwind.
Well, I think the first thing to say is don't expect miracles in terms of the angle you're sailing. It won't be as good as a monohull. Keels, centerboards or keels, whatever you call them, are not very efficient. There's a lot of windage, and you've got to keep the boat moving fast as you reasonably can. So don't pinch is the first thing. Probably 5 or 10 degrees less than the equivalent monohull in terms of angle.
Right. So if we're sailing at say 45 degrees true wind angle on a monohull, you're talking 5-10 degrees more on a monohull.
Yeah. That's the way it is.
Right. And how do you get a feel for that sweet spot? How do you know when you got it right? Can you look at the instruments? Can you?
Yeah, I mean, I think circumstances that we're in here, there's no other boats around. Earlier on there was one we were looking at, and when you see another boat you do start tweaking things and looking for differences. I think you build up a picture over a period of time. You've got to expect to do that and take it all in. Allow your instincts to work.
And I guess if you're using a chart plotter and you've got a track on there, that's probably a good way of seeing.
Absolutely great. That's something you can do very easily now. And at the end of the day, if you've made 3 or 4 tacks, particularly in these waters where there's not much in the way of current, you can get a real good feeling for what's happened.
And as far as sail settings are concerned, and say jib cars, and what are the basics? How can you sort of help improve the situation?
Trial and error. I think trial and error. Don't oversheath. That's all. And very often, I think it's the same on other boats as well. If you try something, sometimes the unexpected works quite well. Like you start opening out the top of the sail in a way that seems unrealistic, and the boat's going faster. So believe what you see.
Right. Good. We'll try a bit of that.
Just like any other boat, it's important to set the blocks of the headsail sheet in the right position. As you can see it now, it's clearly far too far forward. The leech of the sail is too tight, and there's this great big bag on the foot. So we'll adjust it, and you'll see immediately that it improves the look of the thing, and obviously the efficiency as well. So you can see now we've moved the car quite a long way aft. And the jib looks a lot happier, a bit more closed on the foot and more open on the leech. Generally looks better. We'll see if it results in an improved performance. It's the kind of thing you can never take for granted. You've got to tweak it and see how it works.
Balance, Nigel, fore and aft, going upwind. I mean, we've got 21, 22 knots of breeze, apparent wind here, and I've got quite a lot of weather helm on.
Yeah.
And more than I'd expect, to be honest, going upwind.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's all in the main sheet, and it's the last little bit that really counts. If I give you a bit here now, you'll see it lighten up a lot.
Okay, so you're going to ease off a little bit, just
yeah.
I can feel the difference straight away, actually.
Yeah.
We had about 8 or 10 degrees rudder angle on, actually, just to try and keep the boat in a straight line. And now you've only eased it a few feet, but we're right down to just a couple of degrees. It's dead easy. The other thing I've noticed is that if you undersheet the jib, so if we ease the jib off just a little bit, then that weather helm comes back on really, really quickly.
That's about 6 inches.
Okay, yeah. I'm already starting to get the helm coming on now. So as that jib is eased out and it's not really set properly, the luff's blowing back a little bit. I can feel it. If you could just ease a little bit more, Nigel, let's see what happens on the helm there. Okay, so the boat's slowing down and I'm having to put in more helm. The steering to leeward, try and keep the boat.
Yeah.
And I guess the danger is if we were to allow the speed to bleed right off, we'd end up stalling out again.
Yes. The trouble is as well, there's a huge amount of drag because the rudders are not very efficient. So to get for a certain amount of lift, you either have a long, high aspect rudder at a very small angle, which is efficient, or a rather short, clubby one, which is rather undersized. And then to get the same amount of power in to correct the helm, you've got the big rudder angle on, and obviously it's like flaps down, loads of power,
And I guess that's
loads of drag.
And that is the problem we've got, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
it's a shallow draft boat, so it's
Indeed.
shallow rudder. So. Like most modern cruisers with furling headsails, I guess it's a lot more convenient just to pull out the headsail and motor sail. But is that the case with a multi-hull? Can you do the same thing?
Yeah, there's no reason why it'd be any different really. I mean, the object is obviously to save a bit of fuel, maybe go a little faster, and if there's any sea around, it can obviously just help make that a bit smoother, that's all. But so at the moment we're doing just under 6 knots, or thereabouts, about just over, 1650 revs on the engines, and we'll just see what happens to you if we get it out. Okay, let's go then, let's unroll.
Well, we've pulled the headsail out now, Nigel, and I mean that's quite a difference, isn't it?
Yeah,
What we're doing now?
it's sort of settling down to, gosh, oh wow, up to 8 knots. There is a little more wind now, but the apparent's built a little bit, but I think as it happened, I think there's a bit more wind as well. But still, 8 knots compared to 6.5, that's worth having, isn't it?
Yeah. And the motion feels a lot better. as
Feels
well,
fine,
doesn't it?
yeah, it feels really good.
So motor sailing, thumbs up.
I think so.